Your reputation for hospitality is fast becoming legend.
It's been said time and time again that good books usually make for bad movies, and vice versa. Outside of a few diamonds in the rough, like the first Harry Potter trilogy or so, this unwritten rule has held true. Examples are rare and usually occur when the filmmaker takes significant liberties with the source material. Adaptations that involve modernization of the original can be particularly tricky, as over time moral standards shift as palpably as sartorial ones. Such moral conundrums that lie at the heart of, let's take Homer's Odyssey, would seem unfitted to our looser and more relativistic modern mannerisms. Adaptation in the truest sense requires retaining the spirit of the original works, if not a similar plot.
Achilles is the past. Look at the man's face.
Homer's The Odyssey, a cornerstone of Western culture, reflects ancient Greek values, influencing art and literature for millennia, and serving as a timeless story of homecoming, resilience, and the human condition put through daunting trials.
And the next stop on
With these themes echoing in modern retellings from Ulysses to The Simpsons.
I'm going home. Which way to Ithaca?
It's not so easy. You must go through Hades, crossing the river Styx.
It symbolizes life's challenges and the quest for identity, embodying a cultural shift towards wit over brute strength, and has embedded itself into education, art, and storytelling.
You can save
And now Christopher Nolan is trying to take a stab at it. And it ain't looking good. Nolan's upcoming Odyssey film, slated for a July 17, 2026 release, has sparked significant controversy across social, historical, and artistic fronts as it nears the end of post-production. The costume design, sleek and modern-esque, is almost reminiscent of Nolan's work with the Dark Knight trilogy. Perceived as historically inaccurate by Mycenaean Greece, fans everywhere online have demanded more Bronze Age authenticity and a focus on tradition over box office-driven decision-making. Its set filming for weeks on end in disputed Western Sahara has sparked accusations of enabling Moroccan occupation and repressing of local indigenous people. Nolan's casting choices didn't help matters much, as even though the film has an outrageous star-studded cast from the likes of Matt Damon, Zendaya, Tom Holland, Lupita Nyong'o, Robert Pattinson, John Bernthal, Anne Hathaway, the list goes on. The lack of Greek actors and other diverse casting has also led to debates on cultural accuracy for the time set in the film. The teasers that have dropped show Matt Damon's Odysseus in dark sculpted armor that looks modern or fantastical, and essentially a bat mask, which has led to fans taking due diligence and creating their own more accurate Bronze Age gear. I'm assuming taking much influence from the historically focused 2004 Troy film. Though outside of the superhero gimmicks that come with many classical remakes nowadays,
Odysseus is
Nolan did take some liberties with his retelling of the tale, and with British-American author Emily Wilson's highly acclaimed 2017 translation of the Odyssey, chronicled this narrative, and I'm guessing the film might focus on Odysseus' morally complex, less heroic nature, potentially triggering woke debates for portraying his flaws of adultery and decimation, distinct from that of the traditional heroic narrative. Therefore, there may be still some light at the end of the tunnel, artistically speaking. Just change the helmet, for crying out loud. The mat makes it look like Bruce Wayne's birthday gift, and the crest don't even look right. Man's got a broom on his head.
You can't have a cat in here.
It's a service cat.
One of the prominent visionaries of modern Hollywood, there's no question that Christopher Edward Nolan releases quality projects. His film stands as fully immersive experiences no matter what franchise he chooses to dive into, which is why fans still line up time and time again for each of his releases. Now he has his eyes set on The Odyssey, and promises to be another classic. Following the immense success of his Oppenheimer biopic a few years ago, this 2026 adaptation of Homer's epic has the potential to go even further than his previous releases, especially in one particular area: The first full trailer has just dropped a couple of weeks ago, and while many fans are eagerly awaiting the forthcoming historical epic, the trailer has ruffled the feathers of many online, with criticisms quickly being leveled at the costumes amongst other location controversies. This would be the first directorial endeavor for Nolan after his Oscar in 2023 for Oppenheimer, which has already been touted as a masterpiece from fans and critics alike. That is, before the trailer released. With an A-list cast and the task of adapting one of the oldest works of literature in history, Nolan's upcoming Odyssey rendition has quickly taken a seat at the center of online discourse, which was perhaps in some ways foreseeable, as it comes at an instance where book-to-film adaptations are being met with a fiery fervor online. Planned adaptations of Wuthering Heights, directed by Emerald Fennell, not to mention Animal Farm, directed by Andy Serkis, have both been the subject of widespread online criticism, despite the fact that they have yet to be released. Nolan's The Odyssey, led by Matt Damon as Odysseus, and a slew of top box office staples that organically makes this the all-star ensemble of the year. With Ellen
The
Mjorgen,
moment I receive my script, go through it to get a feeling, to get an impression, what the intention is.
the costume designer who led teams for Bridgerton,
We begin another season. I should like great gossip. The social season might look a little different. No. You must begin the proper way.
and Oppenheimer,
Cambridge to study under Patrick Blackett.
leading the wardrobe department for this film as well. The trailer has already been viewed over 33 million times on YouTube alone in the span of about a week today from when it was first released, and provides eager audiences with teasers of the movie. Though for many, it was difficult to pay attention to anything outside of the clunky armor. One Twitter user tweeted that Nolan's armor looks fucking ridiculous. It's legitimately insane how the costume design for Percy Jackson, more than 15 years ago now, comes across more historically considerate than this overinflated budget. If you know anything about the Hellenic period in ancient Greece, you would understand that colorful armor was used as a status symbol on top of its visibility and practicality. It really wasn't the flex you thought it was to have all black armor back in the day. As out on the battlefield, you kinda wanna be visible and know who's next to you. The consensus online is largely split between people expressing genuine outrage over historical anachronisms and others who believe they're taking things way too seriously, highlighting that The Odyssey at the end of the day is a work of fiction.
Running away. Do you think I'm a fool? You'll think you're another one, hoping to marry
This
her.
latest retelling of Homer's tale may be the grandest yet,
We already, my king.
having been filmed on location across 5 countries, on land and at sea aboard a replica Greek ship, and produced more than 2 million feet of film. We catch glimpses of Anne Hathaway, Odysseus' wife Penelope, and his son Telemachus, played by Tom Holland, as well as some of the famous trials Odysseus faces on his return to Ithaca. From storms to shipwrecks and run-in with the Cyclops, at least many of the aspects of the original poem still finds its way.
What can we do? Where's Hercules? Yeah, Hercules, David.
A 6-minute sequence of the film was dropped in cinemas on December 12th as well, while a first draft trailer was leaked online this past summer. But these latest snippets are different from those and have begun the wave of speculation from not only online detectives,
The guy's good. He's very smart. Very smart.
but the freaking Greek press, whom have concerns over the accuracy of some of the armor and ships appearing on screen. In an interview with Empire magazine, Nolan had even said the Homeric epic had formed the roots of every film he had worked on, recalling watching a school play of Ulysses aged 5 or 6. As a filmmaker, you're looking for gaps in cinematic culture, things that haven't been done before. And what I saw is that all of this great mythological cinematic work that I had grown up with, Ray Harryhausen movies and other things, I've never seen that done with the sort of weight and credibility that an A-budget and a big Hollywood IMAX production could do. His production traveled the world in an Odyssean manner rather than relying on special effects. By embracing the physicality of the real world in the making of the film, you inform the telling of the story in interesting ways, says the director. Over 91 days, the crew filmed in Italy, Greece, Morocco,
truly feel
Scotland, and Iceland. From deserts to black sand beaches and lengthy stretches at sea. The final result is the actual more than 2 million feet of film that I'm assuming has yet to be produced.
A hole in the world to me that I wouldn't have been conscious of. And so the snowball rolls on.
Few stories survive from millennia, but The Odyssey, the ancient Greek tale of a winning if embattled warrior's long and difficult journey home after war, is one of them. Versions of The Odyssey have appeared on screen before, from the 1911 Italian silent film L'Odissea to a 2024 film starring Ralph Fiennes titled The Return,
Your father,
which focuses solely on the drama of Odysseus' inevitable return to Ithaca.
Look at this island.
You can string the bow and shoot the arrow through the axis. That man will be my husband.
Ulysses is possibly the best known of all screen adaptations, starring Kirk Douglas and Anthony Quinn. However, other classic films including Ethan and Joel Coen's Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? In 2000 reused the epic story in other settings. The 12,109 line poem, some 140,000 words, dates from around 750 to 650 BCE. Therefore, outside of its logistical classification, The Odyssey has very few parallels with our societally accustomed poetry. Grappling not only themes of grief, nostalgia, family, intelligence, and the very nature of storytelling, we see how Odysseus must be exceptionally adaptable so that he can navigate his return home. As if a foreshadowing for our multiverse-centric entertainment industry today, his character also returns 3 more times in further epics from this era. Slightly adapted as a villain in Sophocles' Ajax and Euripides' Hecuba, and ultimately as a kind of Joe Schmo at the end of Plato's Republic. In each iteration of the hero, the values aligned with him change slightly. In modern times with its return to the spotlight, why is Homer's Odyssey so fashionable today? Perhaps the story returns as often as it does to remind us of the values we want to see in our heroes. In 1954, W.B. Stanford argued in the Ulysses theme that the adaptability of Odysseus has to do with the ethical ambiguity of his most distinctive attribute, intelligence. Odysseus has a desire to know, but this curiosity vacillates between cunning and true wisdom. The fact that he has an extremely changeable nature is the very reason as to why later authors such as Euripides, Virgil, Dante, and Margaret Atwood, for her 2005 Penelopeade, retelling the story from Penelope's perspective, find him to be more so misguided and astray. Ironically so, in February of 2024, SpaceX even sent a robotic lunar lander to the moon.
The first American moon landing in half a century. Who else?
The first American spacecraft to land there in over 50 years. And guess what they called the lander? Odysseus. Odie for short. Though less exciting, 7 days later, it became inoperable and will not be returning home to Earth. Kinda wish you didn't make it something so illustrious now, don't you?
To the lunar surface after a hiatus extending over 5 decades.
3, 2, 1, ignition, and liftoff.
Launched on February 15, 2024, aboard a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, Odysseus heralded a new era in space travel.
To read the book closely is to understand that Odysseus is a complex hero. He's reckless, sharp, inventive as much as he is ruthless and violent, while time and time again showing an empathetic side. Homer's The Odyssey has served as a foundational pillar of modern American and European civilization for well over 2,700 years, shaping moral codes, literary structures, and contemporary entertainment. The epic defined Greek ideals of nobility, loyalty, and the importance of home, codifying the sacred Greek custom of hospitality, establishing it as a core moral duty that influenced early concepts of diplomacy and social conduct. Unlike the war-focused Iliad, The Odyssey explores the trauma of war, the struggle and PTSD involved with homecoming, and the persistence of the human spirit against one's fate. In ancient Greece, his story stood as the cradle of civilization, being used as the primary textbook for literary and moral education among students. Plato even noted that without Homer, Greek education would have been virtually non-existent. The themes explored in his poem of justice and the divine provided the basis for the analytical frameworks of philosophers like Aristotle and Plato.
They see only their own shadows, which the fire throws on the opposite wall of the cave. How could they see anything
From
but
the
shadows?
science fiction anime Ulysses 31 and video games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, there's really no escaping Homer's epic anywhere you look in modern and classical stories.
Spartans, every breath that you have taken has led you to this moment. Every drop of blood, sweat, and tear, all of it has led to where you stand right now.
Classical tales have been constantly reimagined in modern media, providing timeless themes of good versus evil and perseverance. From Harry Potter to The Handmaid's Tale, modern movies and TV interpret these classical tales, ranging from direct historical epics to subtle contemporary reimagining of mythology or classical literature. Homer's The Odyssey is the classical Greek epic poem that tells the story of Odysseus' arduous 10-year journey home to Ithaca after the fall of Troy. Being a foundational work of classical literature, the poem establishes the classic template for the hero's journey, a narrative structure used in hundreds of thousands of stories since, well, Homer. From classical fables to modern films, introducing complex techniques like in media res, or starting in the middle of the action, non-linear storytelling through flashbacks, and the intellectual hero, who wins through wit, menace, rather than just brute strength.
Your past will be my past. And not yours.
That's why the trailer for Christopher Nolan's upcoming adaptation was viewed 120 million times throughout all platforms within its first 24 hours. Though not everyone was thrilled with what they saw, the film has faced significant controversy across three main stages: its filming location, historical accuracy, and creative adaptation choices. Since the first sneak peeks from September emerged, fans online have been groaning that the hero was wearing the wrong type of helmet. Technically speaking, warriors of that period should have sported a helmet made of boar tusks. Now that we've gotten a full 2-minute teaser to scrutinize, Pandora's box has officially opened. First things first, the armor worn by Damon and his men, described as dark, sculpted plate armor, was labeled more Renaissance or archaic than the intended Bronze Age. Critics pointed out that during the Mycenaean period, the generic broom helmets weren't even used, as there's clear distinctions between boar tusk helmets and the matte plated mask, if you will, used in the movie. The film's muted and gritty color palette was criticized for ignoring the vibrant, rich colors and detailed artistry typically associated with ancient Mediterranean cultures. It's crazy that an almost 8-year-old Ubisoft game nails this better than Christopher frickin' Nolan. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, by comparison, revels in this vibrancy, and everywhere you turn in the universe are plethoras of color, not only in the garb worn, but the world itself. Our 2026 Odyssey, in contrast, though beautiful and aesthetically pleasing, in many ways gives off Dark Knight qualities. Nolan broadly gets some aspects right, with Damon shown standing on the beach and the audience able to peer into his contemplating eyes. Aesthetically, this was chef's kiss for a trailer's cinematics, though historically, the practicality comes into question. A helmet can only protect as much as it covers, so when a barrage of arrows are headed on the way to your face, you kind of want the front to be less open. Homer gives us a six-headed beast within this classical fable. Phoenician merchants hadn't even reached Mediterranean commerce for a few centuries from when the epic is set. Not to mention the use of iron tools weren't even technically invented at the time yet. So in other words, poetic license has been inadvertently cooked into the Odyssey itself. Though more serious backlash involves Nolan's decision to film for 4 days in Dakhla, a city in the Western Sahara. Universal Studios calls the project a mythic action epic shot across the world, using brand new IMAX film technology, though the organizers of the Western Sahara International Film Festival, or FISAHARA, have criticized the team for shooting scenes in a city that has been under Moroccan occupation for 50 years, warning the move could serve to normalize decades of repressive bouts. After Morocco annexed the country following the withdrawal of its former colonial power, Spain, in 1976, the UN now classifies Western Sahara as a non-self-governing territory. FISAHARA claimed that the recent presence of Nolan's high-profile cast and crew in Dakhla will help Europeanize the Moroccan occupation and normalize already worsening trends. While Dakhla is a beautiful location with cinematic sand dunes perfect for any filmmaker, the land is still first and foremost an occupied and politically sensitive city whose indigenous Sahrawi population are currently dealing with immense pressures from Moroccan occupation. Though regardless of all the backlash that the new trailer has been receiving for its many historical inaccuracies, if we're looking at it realistically, there isn't really any objective way to interpret the Odyssey.
It's a day the world will remember.
This is an almost 3,000-year-old text by a man whom we aren't even sure existed at all. Even at its time was practically a symphony of regional Greek linguistic practices. Just like adapting biblical tales, Shakespearean dramas, or even Tolkien adventures, adapting Homer's Odyssey will always come with a subjective perspective, as that's kind of the point. As pop culture already knows the general overview of the story, audiences are there to see how this particular filmmaker makes their claim. This is what makes it a timeless human tale. Anyone and everyone are able to put themselves into not only the characters, but the moral story itself. Each new writer, director, or even philosopher offers their own lens on the material, and it's only with this knowledge dissemination that a story older than Jesus himself can still be told time and time again, even today, like your face.
But it reminds us that humans have never been particularly good at leaving behind
such moral conundrums that lie at such moral conundrums that lie at the okay, I didn't do a fucking one. As if first things first. The armor Tobey Maguire got bit by a spider, but see, me, it was a goat. If you want space, I hope you take your helmet off soon as you get up to Venus and choke. Even while sleeping, be thinking so woke. Why Cartiers, all I'm seeing is dope. My city laying, and all me while I got a mission to best, that just might be the hope. They wanna bleed me and leave me to act like they need me, but fuck it, I do it alone. She wanted to touch me and rub me and go back to hubby, he probably could smell my cologne. I was immersed in mercy, I show him no mercy, I really was watching the throne. Bitches ain't turning me down when my baby asleep, only time that I watching my tone. Look, we don't want chips with a chip on our shoulder. If he Obi-Wan, then I gotta be Yoda. Don't need no promoter, we pull up, they notice.
Hey buddy,